everyone. Welcome back to Mooseville Off Grid. Today we're going to go out into the cow pasture and start setting up for the tiny house. We need to do some weed eating to clear away some of the brush, set up a couple concrete blocks, measure things off, determine where we want to put the tiny house while we're building it. We need a site that's somewhat level, has enough clearance overhead that it's not going to get in the way of building the tiny house, enough room that we can put a workbench and a generator and various things like that. And also it's not going to be in the way of anything that needs to be in the cow pasture other than maybe a cow or two. So come along today as I show you my selection criteria for the place to build our tiny house. Now, one of my first selection criteria is access. And as you can see, I've got a big cow gate here that I can open up, and when the trucks come full of wood and plywood and various other supplies, I can easily open this up. They can back right up and dump everything right there where I'm building the tiny house. That way I don't have to haul it from one location to the next. This is a secure area. We have a good sight line of what's going on here. It's well enough off the road that nobody can see it. It's far enough back from the house that we can't see it. So this is a pretty good location to build, right inside the gate here and over here by the big tree. Grass tastes good? You don't think it tastes good down there? Huh? You don't think you'd like that grass better down there without me? Nothing like working in a cow pasture and having the cow right here with you. You like being up here? Is that grass really tasty up here? So the cow and I have decided that this is a good place to build a tiny house. You can see there's more cows down there. This is the only one that's wanted to come up here and join me. So I'm going to clean up this area and then stake out an area for the tiny house, build myself a workbench, and just basically, get ready for the trailer when it arrives. The trailer has been ordered. It will not be done for another 4 or 5 weeks. So I've got a couple of weeks to be able to prep and get everything done. There's a few things I can build for the inside that I don't need the tiny house here right now in order to do, like the composting toilet, maybe the stairs and things like that. Come out here and enjoy the cows, enjoy the sunshine. I've got a nice tree right here to work under. So all in all, life is good. For those of you that are wondering, yes, this would be a lot easier to cut with a lawnmower, but I don't have a lawnmower. At least I don't have access to one right now. This is what I have access to, so this is what I'm cutting it with. a hole right here underneath the tree, and I'm told there's a groundhog that lives in this area, so that might be the groundhog hole. For those of you that don't know, groundhogs are related to marmots, and you probably remember me photographing a number of marmots out in the Tetons, so it'd be nice to have a friendly groundhog here with me. So the idea is to find a good place to build. Is you've got at least 13/6 clearance, somewhat flat. It is a cow pasture, so it's not exactly flat, but you can level the trailer. You just don't want to have to level it a tremendous amount. And then we're just going to set out the concrete blocks, measure off from each of them, set it up 8'6", 24 feet long, and then we'll be good to go. When the trailer comes, we'll move the blocks, move the trailer in, put the blocks back under there, and level it out. I'm not trying to level it now, just trying to get the blocks set. We can level it later on when the trailer comes. This gives me a good idea of where it goes. So here I'm measuring 24 feet down and setting the block. Okay, so that's the footprint of the tiny house. 2 blocks up there, 2 blocks down here. That's where we're going to build. I left myself enough room on the side to be able to use my step ladders, enough room to be able to build a workbench. I've got a tree right here that I can sit under and enjoy the sunshine. Turn these blocks over so the top is up. That's the stronger part of the block. We'll of course have to adjust these after the trailer comes, but that just gives us kind of a rough idea. Okay, now that I've got the site prepped over here, I need to build myself a workbench. I need a workbench to be able to use my miter saw, my table saw, to be able to build things on, things like that. I don't need a fancy workbench like you would have in a regular shop, and it needs to be level out here, and of course the cow pasture is not level, so we're going to have to do some adjustments in order to make it flat and level. But I've cut myself some boards to start making the workbench out of, and now we're going to use the new sawhorses and start pounding this together, or actually screwing it together. So let's get started on that. I just use my clamps to help me hold stuff. I don't want things falling on the ground. I'm getting too old to bend down all the time. Okay, so I screwed together some of the 2x4s. This would be the bottom shelf for the workbench. The stringer that's here in the middle is to help support the table saw. Now we can start putting the legs on, and then we start working on the top. So let's go ahead and start on the legs. I can put a stringer in somewhere around halfway here. Let me measure that off. So we're at 72.5 inches. So let's try 36. Let me mark that. And we'll put this in at 36 inches. And that way we have a little bit more support. And you see I use my clamps as kind of just an extra person. If I had a helper out here, they could hold the boards up for me, but I don't have one, so I do it myself. The stringer also helps with this bowed board. Helps to hold it at the correct distance apart. Okay, so this is the basic skeleton of our workbench. I didn't see any need to film all of the cutting and putting together of it, because it's nothing more than screwing together a bunch of butt joints. If I was doing this for, fine carpentry or something, I would do the dados and stuff like that, but this is just for out in the cow pasture to hold my saw. So we've got a bottom shelf here with just a little bit of feet here, and that's enough space to put the miter saw down here and then move it up to the top whenever we need it. And then over here on the end we have a place to put the table saw, and it will be roughly flush with the top deck, so that I can cut boards and things like that. Now we need to move this out into the cow pasture, and then we'll finish it up. Okay, so I brought the workbench out here into the cow pasture. I need to make it level, because this just isn't going to do having it so unlevel when you need to use it in order to make a tiny house. So what I'm going to do is find the high side, which one of these 4 posts here is highest off the ground. Now I know when I start messing with this thing, it's just going to fall off 10 times, because I've done this before. And so I'm going to clamp it on here. Now I'm not pressing hard on the clamp, because I don't want to warp my hand level. Okay, so I got some blocks here. See how much we need to go up. About that much. That's almost the right amount. Okay, that's level. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of scrap 2x4 and screw it onto the leg, and that way help to level the thing, and then I can take that spacer block out of there, move on to the next one. Okay, so the back side looks pretty good. This needs to be adjusted again. Just kind of up, down, up, down, up, down. Tap it on the blocks just to make sure they're somewhat seated in the ground. Since I'm building this workbench out of scraps, I put a support board here in the middle because I don't have a piece of plywood long enough to make a countertop out of. But I did have some scraps, and by cutting the scraps down, I have enough to make a countertop out of. Like I mentioned previously, if I was doing this for a permanent workshop, something like that, then I would be a lot more careful. But this is only for a temporary workbench. So now I'll just screw it down. Good to have a place to store your tools. That way it's available. I could use it anytime I need it. It'll always be covered up by the cover at the end of the day, so it's not going to get harmed. Other than we need a place to store our clamps. Always seems they're using clamps, or at least I am. And having a good place to store them means you don't have to hunt for them every time you need them. Or dig through a bucket like this. Workbench is starting to shape up a little bit. Much better. Okay, we've made ourselves a workbench. We're out in the cow pasture. It's no work of art, but it will work very well for building this tiny house. I need to get some plywood for the bottom shelf where the miter saw goes, but for right now I don't have that, so we're just going to leave that for the time being. And I'm going to take and use my clamps to hold down the tarp. And that will protect the tabletop, the tools underneath, and so on. I'll just get the other tarp that goes on top of the generator, cover it up, and everything will be protected until we come out here to work again. I want to thank you for joining us here on Moose Villa Off-Grid and watching us set up for the tiny house location out here in the cow pasture and building a makeshift workbench for the table saw and the chop saw. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you would, please give us that old thumbs up icon or like-a-roo. If you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to consider subscribing. We're going to be putting out a lot of videos as we film the building of Moose Villa 3. Thank you so much. See you back here again very soon. Goodbye. All right, let's get the generator covered.